Hey everyone, today I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to piece together a PDF pattern. My patterns are all trim pages. There are some designers that do no trim pages. That would be done differently. So this tutorial will only work for trim pages. To start with, you need your pattern. You will need tape, scissors, or a page trimmer, which you can get in the craft department of Walmart or any craft store that has like scrapbooking, a pencil, and some sort of paper for tracing. I'm using parchment paper. You can also use freezer paper or actual tracing paper. So let's go ahead and get started. Get your pattern all laid out in the right order. Mine use the alphabet instead of numbers. So mine go from A to K or L for this pattern. And grab my page trimmer. To start with, we're going to start with page A, and we need to trim just along this one side for page A. So if you're using scissors, just trim right along that line. Since I'm using this thing, it's got a blade that does it for me. So now I still have these three edges intact, and that's the way I want page A. Now I'm going to take page A and tape it over this edge on page B, making sure all of my lines match up perfectly. You don't want this edge to cross over the black line on page B. It should line up with it perfectly. And then tape in place. So now those two pieces are attached. Now, take just this edge of page B off. And tape it to page C the same way we did when we taped page A to page B, making sure that the lines match up. And then we're going to do the same thing for page A, just this side. And again, tape page C to page D, matching up our lines perfectly. If your lines aren't matching up perfectly, then you probably had an issue during printing. Most designers, myself included, will have a 1-inch square that they're included on the pattern piece. Measure that 1-inch square. If it is not 1 inch, then something definitely went wrong during printing. Okay, now that we're going to start on the next row, we're going to be cutting a different edge. For page E, we're just going to trim this top edge. Now we are going to line that up to page A, making sure our lines all match up, and then tape in place. page F, we need to trim up this side and the top. And then we're going to bring it over here, and we need to match up page F to both page B and page E. And then tape in place. Oops. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing for page G, up this side and across the top. And match this one up with page C and page F. And then tape in place. Now we're going to do the same thing again for page H. Match it up to page D and page G. And now tape that in place. Now we're going to do page I the same way we did page E and just trim this top edge. And then match it up to page E. And then we will do J, K, and L the way we did F, G, and H. We're going to trim up this side and across the top on all three of them. Oh, and across the top. Make sure our lines are all matching up. K. Okay, and last page for me is page L. If you have more pages than I do, you would just keep going the same way. This pattern that I'm doing right here, which is one of mine, it's Linda Sue's Pedal Pushers. It's actually a smaller pattern, so chances are you do have more pages. So you want to just keep cutting the same way I have for all of your other pages. Okay, now that I have all of my pages taped together, you'll see that some of mine are a little wonky. That's because I'm trying to stay out of the way so that you guys can see. But that's okay for this. Yours hopefully won't be. Now, you can do one of two things. You can either cut out the size that you need, or to save the pattern so that you can keep it and keep reusing it, you can trace the size that you need. I'm going to trace. I prefer to do that because then I only have to print my pattern once. So, measure out the amount of paper that you need. And use something to weigh down your paper. I'm going to use my tape and scissors. And start tracing. Once you're done tracing that piece, go ahead and write on it what it is so that you always know. See, this is the back piece, and I need to cut 2. there's my first traced pattern piece. I'm going to set that to the side. Now I can trace my next piece. And now I'll start tracing my front piece. And there you have it. Now we've got all of our pattern pieces traced and ready to cut out of our tracing paper. And we didn't have to cut our original pattern at all, so we're able to reuse it as our children grow, or if you need to do multiple sizes. It's still intact. You can simply just fold it up and put it in like a manila envelope. Folds up pretty easily. Just like that. And then you're able to save it for future use. I hope that this tutorial was helpful, and I look forward to making more for you. Thank you.